Dennis the Menace. What was it? How did it end? What piece of Dennis's wardrobe had to be removed after complaints? I can explain. Paul here. Today we're talking about a show that epitomized childhood mischief and neighborly love-hate relationships. Ah yes, Dennis the Menace. First of all, please subscribe if you would. All right, now let's get into it, shall we? What was Dennis the Menace exactly? Well, Dennis the Menace was an American sitcom that aired from 1959 to 1963 on CBS. The show was based on the comic strip of the same name by Hank Ketchum, and it revolved around the antics of a young boy named Dennis Mitchell. Dennis, played by Jane North, was the quintessential troublemaker with a heart of gold. He was always trying to help, but somehow always ended up causing chaos, especially for his neighbor, Mr. Wilson. Yeah. The show premiered on October 4th, 1959, ran for 4 seasons, wrapping up on July 7th of 1963. It was a primetime hit, airing just before the Ed Sullivan Show on Sunday evenings. That's a good slot. It quickly became an American staple in American households. Let's take a look at the characters, shall we? There was Dennis Mitchell, the main character who I've mentioned, a mischievous yet well-meaning boy who always found himself in sticky situations. There was Henry Mitchell, Dennis's father, played by Herbert Anderson, who often found himself caught between his son's antics and his wife's expectations. There was Alice Mitchell, Dennis's loving and patient mother, portrayed by Gloria Henry. And then you had Mr. George Wilson, the grumpy next-door neighbor who Dennis affectionately called good old Mr. Wilson. He was played by Joseph Kearns. Now, after Kearns' untimely death, Gail Gordon stepped in as Mr. Wilson's brother, John Wilson. And, let's not forget Martha Wilson, Mr. Wilson's kind-hearted wife, played by Sylvia Field. So what was the plot? The show followed the everyday life of the Mitchell family and their interactions with their neighbors. Each episode, kind of typically featured Dennis getting into some sort of trouble while trying to do something good. Whether it was, maybe accidentally flooding Mr. Wilson's garden or setting off a chain reaction of mishaps, Dennis's actions were always well-intentioned, but disastrously executed. Okay, how and why did it end? The show ended in 1963 after 4 successful seasons. One of the primary reasons for its conclusion was that Jane North, who played Dennis, was growing up and starting to look too old for the role. And kid gets a certain age, you don't call him a menace, you call him something else. Anyway, also after the death of Joseph Kearns, who played Mr. Wilson, there was a significant void in the show. While Gail Gordon did a commendable job as John Wilson, the dynamic just wasn't the same. And, the finale, the final episode, it was titled Aunt Emma Visits the Wilson. It wasn't a grand finale, but rather a typical episode featuring Dennis's antics. In the last episode, John Wilson is concerned that his wife Eloise will be destitute if he should pass away suddenly. So he hopes that his Aunt Emma will leave her money to him so that he can then in turn provide for Eloise. However, when Aunt Emma and Dennis become friends, Mr. Wilson fears that Dennis will inherit Aunt Emma's money instead. I'm not going to tell you how it ends. That's it. Yeah, the show didn't have a proper send-off, which was kind of common for shows in that area. It simply ended its run, leaving fans with fond memories of Dennis's mischief. Okay, some trivia. Dennis's iconic slingshot, which he carried in his back pocket, eventually removed due to complaints from viewers who thought it encouraged bad behavior. There were some celebrity cameos. Ron Howard, who later became famous as Richie Cunningham, and he was Opie, he appeared in several episodes as Dennis's friend Stuart. The character of Dennis was based off Hank Ketchum's own real son, Dennis Ketchum. However, the real Dennis had a much more troubled life compared to his fictional counterpart. That might be in a future video. In the UK, the show was known as Just Dennis to avoid confusion with the British comic character of the same name. Dennis the Menace remains a beloved classic because it captured the innocence and mischief of childhood in a way that resonated with audiences of all ages. It was a show that parents could watch with their kids, knowing that it was wholesome for the most part. The slingshot, the timeless humor and relatable characters, and sure that Dennis and his antics will never be forgotten. What do you remember about the Dennis TV show? Let me know, okay? there you have it. Nostalgic look back, Dennis the Menace. Hey, if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Not necessarily in that order. Anyway, for more deep dives into favorite TV classics. Until next time, keep causing good trouble. Just like Dennis.